Well, the sign said scenic view next 1 mile or 1 mile. I assume this is the scenic view. Unfortunately, the sky's kind of hazy, yeah. So not that scenic, but the trees are pretty.
But it's not hazy because of pollution like California.
Probably not. And welcome back to the 5th edition of our trip to Tennessee. This is day 9 and 10, and we're on a road trip. We're headed to Lynchburg, and we're going to have a tour of the Jack Daniel's Distillery. Well, we just passed the first Jack Daniel's Distillery sign. We're in Lynchburg, Tennessee, and we're going to go on a tour of the distillery. So that's coming next.
Take the next right, then turn left.
Or you can check in for your tour.
Okay.
But there's also a museum that's inside the building there that you can read all about. Yes.
Okay.
All
Thank you.
right. You're very welcome. Have a good day.
National Register of
We just
Historic
arrived
Places.
at the
Yep.
Welcome Center for the Jack Daniel's Distillery. There's a museum inside. This is also where you gather to
It's cool. I like it.
pick up your tickets.
This place is cool.
Pay for in advance online. And there's a waiting area. And look at some
Well,
of the
that's
Jack
while
and
you're waiting
frozen
for your
Coke.
I would
time of
love
the tour.
to get a hold of
And
a
then
Jack
they take you
Daniel's
straight
barrel
from here, right
decoration.
inside the
Yeah.
grounds.
You probably can buy them.
A barrel?
Yeah.
You want to get a barrel?
I'd love to.
Before it gets roasted in oak? Or before it gets roasted or before after?
No, a used barrel.
Over there to the right.
Have ID ready, it says.
Tickets.
We get inside those buildings,
Here's
it's
our
going to be a
wonderful
whole lot
tour
more
guide
hot and a
that
whole
took us
lot more
through the whole way.
humid inside than it is
She was
outside.
a wealth of
There's going to be a lot of
knowledge.
strong smells in there. We do make
Discovered
whiskey,
that
so
several
alcohol
of
is one of
her
those
family
smells.
members work
And then
there
there's
as
going to be a
well.
lot of gases coming off
truly enjoyed
fermentation.
her
So I just
job,
like people to
and
know
she
that
does a
before
very
you go
good
out
job
there.
explaining
Once you go, you do
more
have to
than
stay
you'd
with
ever
me.
think you'd
You won't be
learn
able to wait at the bottom of the
tour
stairs, outside
of
buildings,
the
outside doors. We
distillery.
got to all be together as a group with it being a working distillery. They don't want you roaming around out there. We'll be gone for about an hour and 45 minutes. During the course of the tour, I'm not allowed to take you to any restrooms while we're out there. We don't allow smoking, which should be common sense. We make a flammable liquid here. We kind of don't want to blow things up. But our smoking policy is going to include vapes, dip, chewing tobacco. Cell phones we ask you to keep on silent throughout the tour. I hope y'all understand that when they're ringing and dinging throughout the tour, it is a little distraction to me and the people around you. And then photos will be okay anywhere except for inside some of our production buildings. And I'll let you know which buildings those are before we get to them. So just want to make sure y'all are good with all of that before we go out there. Oh, we're going around.
All right, how many's in your group?
3.
All right, and get y'all right there on that mat. Here's a ticket for y'all. And if everybody else can kind of hang out right there. All right, whiskey on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Where y'all visiting from?
California.
Okay, good deal. Glad to have you.
1, 2, 3.
Were y'all here for the CMAs or just coming to Nashville?
No, we own land in Charleston.
Okay, South Carolina. So did y'all?
No, it's actually
Tennessee.
Southeast Tennessee. Little town in Southeast
Okay.
Tennessee.
Near Cleveland.
Okay. Oh yeah, outside of Chattanooga.
seat. I can't.
No, I'll sit over here. Sorry.
Square in what looks like a cocktail bar. It is a distillery. It is not a bar, so they can serve what they make there. And so there's all these little loopholes, okay? So it makes it look like it's not a dry county anymore, but we are still classified as dry county. So we always say we're the wettest dry county in the world. To the Rule is something that Jack Daniel himself started a long time ago, and we still continue it today. On the first Friday of every month, all of the employees get a free bottle of whiskey. So we call that day Good Friday. And we do usually have perfect attendance on that day, so people don't normally call in sick. That was this past Friday. So, but we make all of our whiskey in this building right here. Now, Jack Daniel made whiskey back up there in the hollow. That's not where he first started out. He started out a few miles from here, born around 1850 as the baby of 10 children. His mama died right after he was born. His dad remarried. Now, Jack did not get along with his stepmama, so he left home at a young age, went to live with a Lutheran minister 5 miles from here named Dan Call. Dan had a big farm and a general store and needed help. He let Jack live on the farm, paid him to work in the store. Jack found out that Lutheran minister had a distilling operation on the side. So Jack started asking a bunch of questions, and Dan Call took him down and introduced him to the person making all the whiskey. And this would have been before the Civil War. So before emancipation, that still was under the watch and care of an enslaved man named Nathan Nearest Green. He taught Jack how to make whiskey. One of the processes that Nearest taught Jack is called charcoal mellowing, where you filter whiskey using charcoal. And we still make our whiskey that same way today. In fact, our first stop on the tour is where we make the charcoal for that process. So we'll be talking more about that when we get off the bus. But we're coming up on one of our barrel houses here, so let me tell you a little bit about it real quick. 7 stories tall, contains over 20,000 barrels of Jack Daniel's whiskey. More than 1 million gallons of whiskey in that one barrel house. We have 97 barrel houses total, and they're all spread out around this county, which is called Moore County. Now, we are the second smallest county in the state of Tennessee. So as a county, we are very small. As a distillery, we're pretty big. We're spread out into 4 pieces of property. So this property here, we make all the whiskey on. There's 13 barrel houses and a bottling line here. A mile up the road, right off the highway, is our main bottling plant. 56 barrel houses and where we ship all of the whiskey from. And then a little further past that, 2 more pieces of property is nothing but barrel houses. And that's just all spread out right here in Lynchburg. But we're going to be getting off the bus right here. We're not getting back on. All right, those of y'all that's got a yellow wristband on, if you're getting the icy, you'll pick it up from Dallas here.
Lightweights.
Right over there is where they're making the charcoal for filtering the whiskey. So now we're headed into the cavern that contains the stream for the pure water that they use to create Jack Daniel's whiskey. And you'll see this flowing throughout the property.
Oh yeah. So it feels so good back here because this water runs 56 degrees Fahrenheit year round, which is 13 degrees Celsius. It is natural spring water. It comes from an underground spring located in a limestone cave. That water hits limestone and picks up minerals that contribute to the taste of whiskey, but filters out iron, which would ruin whiskey. Now, I doubt Jack knew that. He just knew this was a good spot. And we are standing where his whole distillery sat back in the day. It has not fit back here since we opened back up in 1938. We built large production buildings, and they're further away from the spring. So they dam the water up, put a pump system in, and we pull water underground straight into our production buildings now. So water coming over the dam, that's extra water, and it fluctuates all year long. But it's never gone dry on us, and we hope it never will. probably left it that shouldn't have.
Case was here.
Okay, I will talk about it in order. You will not see it in order, so keep that in mind, okay? And anywhere inside our production buildings, this is really important, you will not be able to use cell phones or cameras, okay? Our fire chief is really strict about that. He's afraid somebody would have a device that would catch a spark off vapors or grain dust, and we don't want to take any chances with that. So while we're inside, please no cell phone or camera use for any reason, okay?
So as you heard, none of the areas of the production facility I was able to get video of, but there were some areas that did allow some video where they were hand bottling the special formulas. So that was nice. But what we saw in this area was where the furnaces are, which generate the heat for the process. And then we went to the top of these big vats where the mash was kept, and they're covered with these wooden lids that are probably 6 or 8 feet in diameter, and they'd let us lift up the lid and fluff it a little bit. And they'd have the guys, there was like I think 2 or 3 different of these mash silos, and you could smell the fermenting, and it had a transparent lid on it, though you could see all the bubbling going on inside. Very interesting, but none of that I could show on video, and so at this point I had to stop recording. Actually just past this room was allowed, and she described in more detail in this room the process and what goes into making whiskey. And you could see the equipment through the window. That's actual distillery piping, etc. going on there. And a lot of brass tubes and real old equipment. Really neat.
So this room right here is, was our control room for years. So our distillery operators, master distillers would sit right here in this room, make all of our whiskey. They kind of outgrew it a few years ago, so instead of us standing up next to all that hot equipment, we redecorated this room, and now we get to stand in here and talk, and I'm not screaming over all that loud noise out there. So, but the people that make the whiskey here, they are called distillery operators. We have 28 distillery operators. They work 7 to a shift around the clock, no matter the holiday, the weekend, whatever. They're here making our whiskey, and the master distiller is going to oversee them. But now back in the day, your master distiller would have been your only whiskey maker. We've got some photos of master distillers that we've had throughout the years. We do have a photo of every master distiller except for one. We do not have a photo of Nearest Stream. So that group photo up there has Jack Daniels standing right in the middle of it. He's got a white hat with a black band on it. That was made about 1904 here on this property, and sitting to his right is George Green. That would have been Nearest Stream's son, so he represents his dad as our first master distiller. Next photo on the top row is Jack Daniels. After him would have been Jess Motlow, Lem Motlow's brother, and then it was Jack's great nephew, Lem Tolley. Down on the bottom row, Jess Gamble, Frank Bobo, Jimmy Bedford, Jeff Arnett, and now our current master distiller is Chris Fletcher. Now when Chris was a child here, his grandfather, Frank Bobo, was the master distiller. So Chris had come in this room before watching his grandfather make whiskey, and now he's doing the same thing. We've got a lot of generational employees around here. Mama works here, my oldest son works here, my youngest son worked here till he joined the military, my uncle worked here. I got like 20 cousins that work here. We don't even have family reunions anymore. We just clock in because we're going to see each other. But it's a lot of generations of employees here. We're still using the same quality grains, the same recipe. We're going to grind them up, use that same cave spring water to cook them, and mix them all together and add yeast. The mixture of that mixture is called mash. And we make a sour mash whiskey here. That's kind of like making sourdough bread. You would have yeast and a starter. So we take from a previous batch of mash, we add to the new batch of mash, and it'll help kickstart that yeast.
Now the yeast that we use is the same strain Jack used. It was a wild strain here on the property back in the 1800s. Lem Motlow jugged it, kept it cold and dormant for 29 years, started back up with that same yeast strain, and we've kept it going ever since. We have a patent on it, and it's cryogenically frozen here in off-site locations, because if we ever lose it, our whiskey never tastes the same. So while that mash is sitting in a fermenter, yeast is eating up sugar from the corn and turning it to alcohol. By day 4, that mash will be about 12% alcohol and ready to distill. So these are our stills right out here. We've got 4 of them. 100% copper, column style, continuous flow, over 40 foot tall. We're going to pump mash all the way to the top, and it'll spill down over copper plates inside. Steam rises from the bottom, boils alcohol out of the mash as a vapor. We'll capture the alcohol vapor, cool it, condense it, turn vapor back to liquid. So if you look straight across at those 2 boxes over there, you'll see clear liquid coming off those stills. That's 140 proof, 70% alcohol, white lightning, moonshine, whatever you want to call it. But we have 2 larger stills. Each one of those runs about 40 gallons a minute, and each smaller one will run about 20 gallons a minute. We distill 7 days a week. And I know that's a lot of work just to tell y'all how to make moonshine, but we can't even call it whiskey yet. We got a long way to go before we can call it whiskey. So we're going to leave out of this room. We're going to go look at fermentation. Then we'll go to charcoal mellowing, and then we'll learn about the #1 ingredient for making whiskey. We have to charcoal filter our whiskey before we put it in a barrel. And that's not to say that other types of whiskeys can't filter or they don't filter. They can charcoal filter. And some do, but they're not required to. And Tennessee whiskey is. So we're going to go check out charcoal filtering next. Still no cell phone or camera use inside. Outside is fine, just not inside.
Oh, look at that. There's the water that makes Jack Daniels.
Come on in, have a seat. Tennessee whiskey, those barrels have to be brand new, oak, and charred. We have a cooperage in Alabama that makes a barrel just for us. Our barrel is custom, brand new American white oak, toasted and charred. And we're going to watch a video. It's going to show you how they're made. But we put clear alcohol in the barrel. It goes up to barrel houses that's not climate controlled. So when it's hot, wood pores expand. And when it's cold, wood pores tighten up. That's working that whiskey in and out of that wood, giving us all of the color and most of the flavor. If we tried to use the barrel a second time, we can't get as much color or flavor off the second use as we did the first use. So after 1 use, we sell our barrels. And the majority of bourbon and Tennessee whiskey barrels will go to Scotland for Scotch. They'll go to Ireland for Irish whiskey. They'll go to the Caribbean and South America for rum. They go to Mexico for tequila. Wineries, breweries, other distilleries all over the world, if they don't have the standard of it being a brand new barrel, they're going to want a barrel that's only been used one time. And it will help contribute to flavor profiles, which is why we we'll send our used barrels to food companies, like McElhaney Tabasco Company, Avery Island, Louisiana. They ferment hot pepper mash and use whiskey barrels 3 years before turning it into Tabasco sauce. We also sell our barrels to the public, so we have a store on the square where you can buy used barrels. We just don't make them here, that's why the video.
They get like around 50 bottles or something like that from a barrel, and so that was neat. Very hands-on. There, the process.
It smells like bread dough.
Yeah, this is really nice. This is a very dark color. Is a mold that's formed. here's the meandering stream of pure spring water. And we're taking a walk through the grounds to go see one of the barrel houses. But first we're going to be doing the taste testing. So here is all the varieties that they make in a very small amount, and I'm gonna try it.
Old number 7, it would knock the proof under 80 proof, so we can't call it whiskey. We have to call it a liqueur. Now our liqueurs are 70 proof. That's 35% alcohol. There's only 5% alcohol difference between our old number 7 and our flavors. So they make you feel the same way. You could get a little carried away. You gotta be careful here. The first one that we put out is Tennessee Honey. It came out in 2012. Old number 7, real honey, praline flavors, and blackstrap molasses. Now that's the last one on your tasting board. So we're gonna taste it first, okay? So skip one, we'll come back to it. Yeah, it's like a dessert. So Tennessee Honey is actually our number 2 bestseller. It is the fastest selling product that we have ever made. And so because Tennessee Honey did so well, we decided that we would do another flavor. So in 2014 is when we came out with Tennessee Thought. And we put cinnamon sticks, cloves, and candied cinnamon in there. I will be the first one to admit, I thought making something cinnamon flavored was a bad idea, because I made poor choices off hot damn Goldschlager and Fireball throughout the years. And I thought, I don't want us to make anything cinnamon flavored. I'm a little scared of that. It is totally different. It does not remind me of any of those. To me, it smells like Christmas. It tastes like the holidays. It's not syrupy. It's not harsh. It doesn't burn. So y'all go ahead and try the Tennessee Pie.
Super sweet.
Cinnamon. Very cinnamon.
Fireball smells like Scotch tape and cinnamon.
Yeah. Wow. That's cinnamony. Now that was a very interesting experience. I'm not a drinker, but I had to try them, and it was interesting to try those tiny little bits. The cinnamon was extreme cinnamon, I'll tell you. But I was surprised with the flavors, an apple and a peach and a berry, I think. Not bad. And they said that those are their top sellers right now. It's interesting. So we're on our way to downtown Lynchburg, and this is where they can sell the alcohol, and they also sell the their barrels. And we did end up buying a barrel and a full barrel and 2 half barrels. So they're sitting in my C-Train back at the property. So when we eventually move there, we'll make a couple of them into planters and another one probably into a table. So we finished the tour. I didn't get any footage of the where we purchased a bottle of that cinnamon and the barrels that we got, which was interesting getting them into our rental van because we still had a lot of equipment that we were still carrying around since the C-Train didn't get delivered. So we're back in Chattanooga at this point, and we're going to have, I think it was lunch, but we read about a place to try out, and you'll see that in just a bit. Ran into a little bit of rain. That was something that was really nice, is rain off and on. You never knew when it was coming. Where we live in California, it's very predictable as far as when you're going to get rain. this time of year, we don't get rain or hardly any ever. So this was very pleasant. And in fact, when we went in to sit down to eat at this place, it started pouring down hard. We'll see. I don't remember if I got that on video, but it was quite the thing. And they were having a news going on the TV in there, and were covering this storm coming through. It was something. So there's the place right there, Pucky's. So that was another fun thing of the trip, is getting to try the different food places, because we're foodies. We enjoy cooking, making our food, trying different recipes, and we enjoy trying different places. And this certainly was one of them. Unique, pretty neat ambiance inside. The Chattanooga Aquarium is right down the street from here, which we didn't get to see this time, but we figured next time we come, we'll check that out. There's going to be a lot of things for us to see. And so anyway, time to get inside and have our meal. We're now at Food City, which is, we just got our membership card for this grocery store here in Cleveland, Tennessee. And they have their own gas station, Gas and Go.
Are you recording?
And so came over here to get gas and used our member card. And we got our price reduced to this price. That is pretty cool. Now this was a little place we fell in love with the next day. Little diner called Little Diner on First. We ended up going twice here, but nice little cute place with a lot of knickknacks. A lot from my childhood. You see around the top there. Very a localized thing with a proprietorship. A lot of regulars. Very busy. And it was excellent, excellent food. Okay, well, we came to this cute breakfast spot called Little Cafe on First. Little Diner. Little Diner. Cafe Diner. I'll do it again then. Okay, we went to this cute little place called Little Diner on First. And it's a neat little place. You see in the video and still shots, but we wanted a breakfast place that was local and not a chain, and it looks like it's going to be really good. It's a little further south or midtown from where we're at in the north area, but that's okay. And Amy found this place looking around, and I think this is probably going to be, unless there's something really bad with the food, this should be our favorite place to go, because it's really homey and looks like the locals hang out. So anyway, if I can remember, I'll show you what we get before we eat it. We'll be back. So I had bacon with my meal, and I fell in love with it. I asked him, where do you get that, and what was it called? He said it's Mariah bacon. And it is sold in some places in California, but just not near us. But it was amazing. It's like the best bacon I've ever had. So there's a place near Charleston that wholesales it. So when we move there, I've got the source. How was it, Amy?
It's good.
Well, we just finished the breakfast, and it was amazing.
and I fell in love with their bacon, which is really, really good, smoky and salty like the bacon should be. There's a lot of generic brands that I don't think should even be called bacon. But this bacon we found out is called Mariah brand bacon. Probably not available in California, I don't know yet, but so much better than Costco's and all the other brands. It's just great. As far as the biscuits and gravy were perfect, very fluffy, soft biscuits, and lots of it. The eggs were not overcooked; they were cooked right, and the bacon was fantastic. And the pancakes were really good, and so I would definitely come here again. Maybe we will come here again before we leave. So I highly approve. Oh, sure. This is probably 25 minutes away where we're at now from our property. This also takes us to the Tellico Plains, which I guess we'll see. We went through the little town of Etowah, not to be confused with Ooltewah, which is northwest of Cleveland, or at least west of Cleveland. It was a very teeny tiny town, but it had 2 gas stations and a couple of banks, school. Probably can't see in the picture because of the wide angle, but on the sides of the road there's these daylilies that grow everywhere. Orange colored daylilies. I don't know if people are planting them or they just come up wild by themselves. Sauga Creek. Literally a church on every corner, or a little cemetery, or both. Lots of little hillside cemeteries. Like this street. Seeing lots and lots of mimosa trees that seem to grow wild, and magnolia trees all over the place. I see a KOA sign.
Campground America.
Yep. That's what this is. Turned out to be a perfect day for sightseeing. So it's the Cherahalla Skyway is what we're on. We just went through the little community of Tellico Plains.
After that great breakfast, we decided to go on a road trip to the Cherahalla Skyway. It's a scenic byway that was completed in the fall of 1996. They, North Carolina built it, and they planned the construction for 34 years. It was their most expensive scenic highway, carrying a price tag of $100 million. It winds up in over 5,400 foot mountains for 18 miles in North Carolina and descends another 23 miles into the deep forested backcountry of Tennessee, which is the area we were coming from. The road crosses through the Cherokee and Nantahala National Forest, thus the name Cherahalla. The Skyway is becoming well known in motorcycling and sports car circles for its long sweeping corners, scenic views, and cool summer breezes. So on our drive up there, I wanted to stop off and use my drone, and I risked flying it over the river, and luckily had no issues. But I think I got some amazing views of that Tellico River. We continued on up the mountain with a few different turnouts for scenic views, but we did not go all the way into South Carolina at where it ends at in Robbinsville. This route took Discovery Channel's top 10 motorcycle rides in North America. I could see why. It was a beautiful day for a road trip. I'm taking her up as high as she can go and give you a good overview of the area. There went a couple motorcycles just the road follows the Tellico River for most of the way, and we turned around at a spot where it's a bear preserve, and I'll discuss that when we get there. But we decided it was getting late and we should turn around. We really needed to set aside a full day to make that round trip, but at least we got to see some of it. Okay, we're here at the Tellico Ranger Station for the Cherokee National Forest, and the gal that's the ranger came out and talked to me for a moment. Just kind of wanted to make sure we were on the right track for some overlooks, which we are. We're only about 25 miles away from the North Carolina border. I'm going to turn this around and see. These are wild rhododendrons. And so they're in bloom, and we've been seeing them all over the place. So Amy can't wait to get some rhododendrons growing at our property. Here's some nice buds here. Turn this back that have not popped open yet. Here's one. They are pretty. I don't know if it has a smell. Not really. But pretty. The leaves sure look like rhododendrons. This is just a little turn off the main road to get back here where the ranger station is. They got a cute little place. So the ranger station I was just at was originally one of the first California Civilian Conservation Corps camp in Tennessee, and one of the first in the nation. It was located in the cove down below from where I'm standing, and it has been restored and is now the Tellico Ranger Station. You can see it was Camp Chickasaw back in the day, and the CCC was operational from 1933 to 1942. They worked on thousands of projects that helped, including road building, erosion control, firefighting, and it was to provide work for desperately needed salaries for millions of unemployed young men and their families because of the Depression created by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And you can see here, can't see it from here, maybe we could at some point, but it's somewhere down in that cove where we were just a few minutes ago. While we were traveling, we came across a sign and it mentioned this lake. So we went to visit it. It's called Indian Boundary Lake, and it was being used quite a bit by swimmers and recreationists alike. It's supposed to be really good for fishing. The area around Tellico Plains, including where Indian Boundary Lake is located, was historically inhabited by indigenous peoples, including the Muskogee and later the Cherokee, although the name of this lake isn't truly part of the Indian Boundary. It's part of the Indian Boundary Recreation Area within Cherokee National Forest, highlighting its significance as a recreational space within a region with deep historical ties to indigenous populations. It's just a little pretty lake to visit. I'm glad that we did on this beautiful blue sky day with some puffy clouds. We had some beautiful scenery to see at this lake, which I'm sure gets frequented by a lot of the locals. This is one of the gravel trails around it, which is like 3.5 miles around. And this is the scenery of the hills again around that area. And some beautiful wildflowers still in bloom in June. Some pretty rough, ragged hillside of that little mountain. This area is called the Tellico Bear Reserve. It's intended to preserve the black bear and keep it wild, so no hunting is allowed in this area, but outside of the area hunting is still allowed for the black bear. We haven't seen any black bears yet, and we may not. We're just driving, but we're at the marker point of the Cherahossie Skyway, and if I got that right, and it continues to go on to Robbinsville in North Carolina, but we're it's about 5:43, so it's getting near dinner time, so we're going to start heading back towards Cleveland and stop somewhere for a bite to eat. But we've enjoyed this beautiful afternoon on this drive up the hill to some overviews and pull-outs for the rivers and such. And we'll be doing much more later on. So we'll see you later. In the valley below, now inundated by Tellico Lake, were the towns of the Overhill Cherokee. These settlements were the seat of Cherokee power in the 17th and 18th centuries. They were so named during this period because traders from the Atlantic coast had to travel over the hills of the Appalachians to reach them. Among these towns are the old Cherokee capital of Chota and the town of Tanasi, after which the Tennessee River and the state are named. The sites of these two towns have been preserved as memorials to the Cherokee people and can be visited today. There are several scenic pull-offs along our route, and as we were returning back, this area was Brushy Ridge Overlook. Still wildflowers to be seen down below. Not those brightly colored things, those are fake. Someone put those there. But quite a span of view here at this vantage point. Well, that wraps up this episode, and I leave you with a few images I took with my digital camera that I felt was worthy of showing here. I think you'll like it. I hope you do. And until next time, we'll see you again soon for day 11 and 12. Thanks for watching.